This year's Final Four had no shortage of action, and Texas men's basketball is chefing it up in the transfer portal right now. Meanwhile, the NBA playoff picture is falling into place, and on top of all of that, it's the week of the Masters, so we're bringing Talks of Augusta to the studio. Get ready because we're talking all of this out on the one and only College Crossfire.
All right, I'm going with classic, the 9-9-9. I'm going to do the 9 hot dogs, 9 beers, 9 innings challenge.
Need I say more? Need I say more? Need I say more at all?
From Costco specifically, I'm gonna take 2 double chunk chocolate cookies, ice cream sandwich, but it's fried.
It's about to get hot in here, folks.
It's about to get hot.
Good evening to everyone tuning in tonight. I'm your host, Robert Gonson, and we've got a very exciting show in store for you. It's our 9th show of the semester and our last one before the Tournament of Champions. Ladies and gentlemen, if this episode doesn't feel as important as the ones that we've had before, well, keep looking ahead because we've got a lot of great content here tonight. Last chance to grab some extra points before we total all of them up this weekend. As always, I'm excited to do this show tonight. It's going to be a super fun one. And I have to say, before we begin, I want to let you know that today's show is brought to you by Cap Metro, Austin's transit system. We connect you to work, school, play, and everywhere in between. So plan your ride to this weekend's game at capmetro.org. All right, so without further ado, as always, let's get into it. We cannot begin any show without introducing our lovely lineup of contestants right to my left. So starting off on first base in our first seat, we have someone who is very familiar with the show College Crossfire. He's our reigning champion this week and the future general manager of the Atlanta Falcons. It's our very own Justin Goosman.
Whoa, really excited. I'm glad that I was introduced as the future general manager of the Atlanta Falcons. That'll be a tough task, but hopefully eventually when that comes, we can get something done.
Confidence is key, and that's what you're going to need if you want to win tonight's episode. By the way, we do not have a super enthusiastic audience as there are only 3 people here tonight compared to the average of what is it, 8? So it's dozens,
Thousands.
But anyways, we're going to go on to our next contestant in the middle seat right here, making their second appearance on the show this semester, a 2-time Tournament of Champions participant and 1-time winner, a mastermind on all things DC sports. Let's welcome on Mr. Ryan Hopper.
Well, thanks for the intro, Rob. Guilty as charged. And happy to be here. You know, we're thugging it with this mic situation, but we're going to figure it out. Let's go. Oh. We're going to figure it out.
Great to have you on, Ryan.
Wow.
And then in our third and final seat, rounding it out, making their first ever College Crossfire appearance, a Texas football and baseball writer for the Daily Texan turned sports broadcast debater. Let's welcome on Miss Emma Hutchinson.
Let's go.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here on my Crossfire debut. Many a days in the audience, but you know what? Tonight I'm looking to get the win, so we'll see what happens.
Not happening.
A girl can dream, okay?
In Crossfire, anything's possible. Put that in the promo. Yeah. Yeah.
Emma, we're excited to have you on. And then put that in the promo. You heard that for the fall 2026 TSTV wide meeting. That's going in there, Ryan Hopper. All right. So there's going to be 3 rounds with each one containing 3 questions. I'm going to dish out points in the order of 3, 2, and 1, and who I believe has the best answer all the way to the worst. So at the end of all 3 rounds, the person with the highest score will win, and get to come back on for next week's show. This is a little bit different, though, as for this week, whoever wins just gets to add to their total and hopefully boost themselves up and have a higher total, a high enough total to be put in the Tournament of Champions. The catch here, there's a rapid fire round. It's worth double the points, meaning the best answer will receive 6 points, second best gets 4, and third 2. I'm going to ask questions that y'all do not know. Y'all are not going to know what's being asked. It's all on the fly. You're going to have to think on your feet and come up with the best idea of what the best possible answer is. In the event that there's a tie by the end of all 3 rounds, I do have a tiebreaker question in my pocket ready, and that's happened twice already this year, so it could very well happen again. And when you're trying to get to the last bit of points before the most important show, you want to be ready to give that final answer. Now that we've reviewed the rules, we can jump right into the game. All right, starting the night off. The NCAA Division I's men's basketball season finished on Monday night with the Florida Gators defeating the Houston Cougars in a come-from-behind win in the national championship. In a game between the nation's best, there were many factors that between both teams contributed to the final result. Which was the single biggest reason why Florida won and why Houston lost? Justin, take it away.
I would first like to say that I do think the change in the officiating from the first half to the second half disadvantaged Houston a little bit. That's not the reason they lost, but it definitely was a reason why Florida was able to get back in the game. My main reason, and some people might think I'm crazy, is Walter Clayton Jr. I know he had a terrible first half. The shots weren't falling. The shot selection was iffy. In the second half, though, in my opinion, it was his gravity, his defense, and the way he attacked the rim that opened up the scoring for all of the Florida Gators. And then we all saw on that final play when Emmanuel Sharp gets a wide open look and Walter Clayton closes out with the speed of lightning. Like, that dude got so high in the air so quickly that Sharp couldn't get a shot off. We saw the travel that ensued. I know he didn't have the best game. His performance probably didn't live up to his own standards, but in my opinion, he was the reason they won in the second half.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that it was just having grown up a Florida Gator fan. My stepdad played football at Florida. It was magical being there, even though I was way up in the heavens of the upper deck of the Alamo Dome. I would say that the difference of this game was the fact that in the first half, Houston was able to dictate the style of play, and in the second half, Florida was able to play some Gator basketball. They were able to get better looks from 3. In the first half, Houston was running them off the three-point line, and they got a lot of clutch stops. They were down by as many as, I want to say, 12 in the second half, and they were able to work back from that because they had better guard play. Elijah Martin, Walter Clayton, and then my man, Will Richard. How about Will Richard? He always gets forgotten as the third of the three-headed monster, but he was really good. He led all scorers, 18 points, efficient shooting. Florida was able to play their game in the second half and get to the rack. Houston was not. And Houston took a lot of bad shots in that second half. And they're up leading, Rob. They didn't work the shot clock. They'd shoot a 3, 20 seconds left.
All right. I would also like to say shout out to my mom. She was a Florida Gator, so I actually didn't know that about Ryan. But anyway, so I would like to agree with Goose that Walter Clayton Jr. did have a really awesome game, and he was definitely a catalyst for that win. But I want to look at the bigger picture, and I want to say it was just Florida's ability to rally back. We've seen it the whole tournament. We saw it against Texas Tech. We saw it against Auburn. They were at a really bad deficit. And then we also saw it versus Houston. Like Ryan was saying, a 12-point deficit by the second half, but it was just being able to rally back and finish out a game, and I feel like that is so crucial, especially in college basketball. Sure, you can play a great first half, but I feel like it all comes down to those final moments. Can you clutch up? And yes, the Gators did.
All right.
Go Gators.
Those are all some great answers to start out tonight's show. I'm going to have to give the 3 here to Mr. Justin Goosman. Ryan Hopper, you'll get the 2. Emma, the 1. Justin, I like what you said most about Walter Clayton Jr. showing up in the biggest game of the year. Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. Absolutely. Ryan Hopper, I like how you said, here you have Florida turning it around in the second half, being able to close out and close out on defense, also make some shots when they needed to count most. And you clearly see the change of play in the second half for Florida. They're able to change the style of play. Those are all some great answers. Moving on now, the college basketball season on the women's side also came to an end just a few days ago with UConn beating the sports giant South Carolina by a whopping 23 points. So now that South Carolina has gone down, they've lost UConn. First off, they've lost in 2 previous Final Fours. This is Paige Beckers here. She tore an ACL along the way. She finally won a national championship, taking down South Carolina as the fitting team that's defeated her previously. So, now that Beckers is gone, who is the next player in women's college basketball to help bring her team to that very good dynasty status?
Is it still going?
No.
That's the last part.
Oh, yeah, it is. I think it is.
You think it?
I have no idea.
Can we just put it on mine?
Is it dead?
Did it pause?
At some point.
We're having technical
Wait,
At some point it paused. We just don't know when.
We're back. We're so
All right, well, welcome back, everybody. Justin got the 3, I got the 2, and Emma got the 1, if you didn't hear that. Well, second question, who's the next star in women's college basketball, and who's making a dynasty? Sorry, I'm going to steal at least one of y'all's answers. It's right here on this campus. Madison Booker, she's a bucket. She will be a top 3 player in women's college basketball next season. She can do everything. It's very fitting that she wears the number 35 on Texas's campus. She can shoot, she has a handle, and she can rebound just like one of our favorites, KD, and at least one of my favorites. And when you look at this Texas team, I don't know about dynasty, but they could be a real contender next year, not just because of her. I mean, they were playing like 1980s basketball this year, Rob. They'd hit like 2 threes a game. They made the Final Four, and then they ran into a buzzsaw. Madison Booker can shoot. If they can get a replacement for Taylor Jones and then just get 1 or 2 sharpshooters around her, this is going to be a really, really good team, and they play great defense. Watch out for the Longhorns next year. Yes, I'm biased, but won't be here, unfortunately, to see it.
Okay. Honestly, Madison Booker was definitely one of my picks as well. But for me, I feel like I'm going to have to say Hannah Hidalgo. I feel like she's definitely been a name to watch. She definitely was last season for Notre Dame. And I feel like she's definitely going to put them on the map. To compare her to Caitlin Clark. I feel like not a lot of people knew about Iowa women's basketball until she came up and she made them known. I feel like Hannah Hidalgo is going to do the same with the Fighting Irish. She's up there. She's, I believe, the 5th leading scorer in the NCAA with 22.6 points per game, if I'm not mistaken. But I also saw a really cool stat that she compares to Caitlin Clark in the way that she has made over 1,500 points and 300 assists within just 2 years of being in college. So I definitely think she's going to bring out a monster next year.
I mean, I'm shocked that nobody said Juju Watkins. USC was right there with the chance to go to the Final Four without Juju Watkins even healthy. I mean, how have we not recognized what Juju Watkins has been able to do for that USC basketball team? They were not a perennial powerhouse in women's college basketball until just a couple of years ago. And now she comes into the fray. That stadium is always sold out. They love USC women's basketball down there. And they were this close, if Juju stayed healthy all season, to getting to that pinnacle of college hoops, to getting to the Final Four and showing what they're capable of. I think it's going to be USC. They obviously have the recruiting power. They have Juju Watkins, and I think she's going to be the next person to ascend with their team to a dynasty status.
Yeah, it's very hard to critique either of those 3 players because they are up there, top 5 in the sport. Juju Watkins, Madison Booker, Hannah Hidalgo. But for the context of this question, I have to give the 3 to Emma Hutchinson in that Hannah Hidalgo, She's chasing achievements like Caitlin Clark was just last year. Right now, because she has that in front of her, it's going to be easy for her to pick up all this attraction. And deservedly, she will pick up that attraction and she will likely achieve those things. Score, was it 15,000 points you said? 15,000? It's going to happen for her right here with 1,500. 15,000's a lot. Sorry. Get a little mixed up here. But
15K in a season.
hey, if she did that too, that'd be crazy.
That'd be crazy. Yeah.
You get the 3 right there. Ryan Hopper, I'm giving you the 2, just because Madison Booker is also doing great things for Texas. Justin, the reason I give you the 1 here is as good as Juju Watkins is, she's with an ACL tear. She's likely not coming back until next March. So for the context of this upcoming season, I think Juju and Hannah can do a lot of great things. But we wish Juju a speedy recovery. Switching on now. So Texas men's basketball, they recently made some offseason additions after the hiring of new head coach Sean Miller. 3 big men have so far transferred, filling in big gaps with the loss of Caden Shedrick, Arthur Kaluma, and potentially Trey Johnson. Forwards Dalen Swain from Xavier and Camden Heide from Purdue were added last week. And then on Sunday, they landed the 7-foot Lithuanian center from Florida Atlantic, Matas Fokitaitis. How would you grade Miller's recruitment during the offseason right now? And if there's more to be done, what is it? Emma.
Yeah. So I guess on a grade scale, I don't know how we were doing this, but I would say I'd give his recruitment a B. I feel like he's very close to an A. I've been very impressed so far with the people that he has been able to recruit. Like we were saying, Dylan Swain from Xavier, that was huge. Matas, I'm not even going to pronounce. I'm not going to even,
The big fella.
The big fella,
Yeah.
7 foot. That's really awesome because he can also put up points. But I feel like I'm still kind of waiting. There's obviously going to be that hole from Trey Johnson because he was just such a stellar player, having a couple 30-point games, averaging over 20 points per game, obviously. I feel like really to seal the deal, Miller is going to have to obviously bring someone to fill that hole who can have that absolute scoring power. And I know Texas was looking at Jakari White from Nevada, I think is where he was from, but he was putting up 17.7 points per game, 2.3 rebounds. I think he would have sealed it and honestly been that, scoring player that Texas needs.
Yeah, I feel like Emma sort of took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to give him a B+. I think what he's done has really shown what Texas basketball can be in the future. I think all of these moves are not necessarily for next season, but more for the season after that, a couple seasons after that. So I'm going to give him a B+ only because we're still waiting on, like Emma said, that guy to kind of fill Trey Johnson's void. You're not going to fill him with just one person. You're going to try to do it by committee, but you still need that superstar player to elevate your team. And in my opinion, to elevate the offseason from a B+ to an A, you need that one last guy that can really fill that gap. So I still think it's a great offseason. I think Texas is in good hands for the future. They got their big men that they've needed, but I still think they need just that one last piece, that guy that can really be the clutch player for Texas.
Well, hopefully we got all that. First of all, Rob, I'm going to give you a solid B+ on pronouncing the big fella's name. That was pretty close, at least as I understand it. I'm going to give Sean Miller, I'm also about a B+ because the thing is, like you said, replacing Trey Johnson is hard because you have to do it by committee. Trey Johnsons don't grow on trees. It's going to be hard to find that. Elite level lottery picks are very hard to find in the portal, in recruiting. And I also like what you said about the long-term vision. I think he has to hit the recruiting trail as well as the portal for long-term success. I like what they've done. They desperately needed size. I mean, Caden Shedrick and Sarah Kanyema, God bless them. But man, that was rough watching them this year. They got the big fella. Swain from Xavier is big, almost a wing, but he can play at the 4. Same with the Purdue guy. He's just a little undersized, got to get in the weight room. So really, I think they need 2 additions. They need another big or another flexible 2-way wing. And I think they do need another guard just because of Kendall Weaver's offensive limitations. But the reason it's a B+ for me is you got to focus on the fact that they kept Tremont Mark, who did not show us his full potential this year because he was injured, Jordan Pope, and Kendall Weaver. That was huge, keeping all of them in the fold.
Yeah, I'm going to have to give the 3 right here to Mr. Ryan Hopper because you hit both points in terms of it's hard to replace Trey Johnson. Y'all all hit that point. But then you also talked about the positives of adding on some bigs, and then which they've done so far, but you still have roles to fill in terms of playmakers. Can they get a wing player? Can they get one more big who plays a little versatile on the floor? And then I'm going to have to give the two right here to Emma Hutchinson. You know, you and Goose hit the same points. You bring it up in terms of, can they replace Trey Johnson? It's hard to do that when he's kind of your guy. You know, you've added on these bigs, but what are you going to do to add that player who's on the court playing the game like it's chess out there? You know, he's able to make plays left and right, knowing where to make those plays and making the magic happen when it's needed most. So Emma the 2, Justin the 1. That's going to wrap things up for our collegiate sports round. But when we return, we've got some more basketball to talk about and golf. Don't go anywhere. College Crossfire returns in just a sec. Welcome back into College Crossfire. Overall, a great first round we have here tonight. Mr. Ryan Hopper leads the field with 7, Emma Hutchinson behind him with 6, and Justin Goosman right there with 5. So still anyone's game as we move on from our collegiate sports round and move on to talk about some more, professional sports. So starting things off, April is definitely one of the premier months for sports, and while that is up for the debate, this event could surely be the reason why. Tomorrow, the Masters will tee off for the 89th time at the revered Augusta National Golf Course, with all the world's best golfers, past and present, competing for immortal glory in the sport. A few significant storylines lead the tournament, like world #1 golfer and Texas alum Scottie Scheffler looking to become the first repeat winner since Tiger Woods in 2001-2002, and Rory McIlroy trying to finally complete the Grand Slam that he's been chasing for over a decade. So, who will be putting on the green jacket on Sunday out of the entire field of play? I believe this one starts with you, Miss Emma Hutchinson.
Guys, I'm really excited about this question because, first and foremost, I have Rory McIlroy winning the Masters this year. I need him to get that Grand Slam. He's been cooking up something on that golf course. I believe he's first in strokes gained overall, second from tee to green. He's been hitting it straight. And also, I feel like I can say this, but Rory McIlroy did in fact win the 2011 US Open because I gave him a hug. So
That's a crazy poll.
I'm just saying, if you send me to the Masters so I can give him a hug, he'll win it all. Sponsor me.
Wow. Get on that, Jordan.
That's 3 points.
I don't even think I can beat that. I was gonna say Akshay Bhatia, and
wow.
that's because left-handers historically do very well at the Masters. That's because they have a lot of dog legs to the right or to the left, which means that you can fade it more with a left-handed golfer. Akshay has been playing really well this season. He was a top 5 finish at the Players' Championship. That's almost always an indicator of someone that's going to play well at the Masters. And I believe that getting the Masters under his belt last year, he has experience. He's been putting it well. He's been chipping well. I think Akshay Bhatia is going to shock the world and take home a green jacket at the young age of 24.
For context, he is the first drive, chip, and putt winner from his youth to win that and then go to the Masters. He's the first person to do that. And then last year he qualified there for the first time by winning the Valero Open the week before.
Right.
Just for fun fact.
Well, I find it interesting that here on this campus, all 3 of us are not going with the returning champion, Scottie Scheffler. I'm not either. Sorry, Scotty. We love you, though. Hook 'em horns. I'm going to go with just a model of consistency, though he does not have his first Masters yet. My man, Colin Morikawa, okay? 2 major championships. He won the U.S. Open in 20. He won the British in 21. And this guy is just a model of consistency. He has finished in the top 15 of every PGA tournament this year, and he has already won a tournament, something that the leader, Scotty, the front runner, I should say, Scotty Scheffler can't say. And you know what, with Rory, he's a great golfer. He's been tremendous. He's got an entire United Kingdom behind him. But you know what? I think he's going to crumble under the pressure one more time. I think he'll finish in the top 10. I don't think he'll win it. Colin Morikawa is always there or thereabouts. He does not have a weakness in his game. I think Colin Morikawa is securing his first green jacket at a tradition unlike any other.
I was kind of dreading scoring this question tonight because I knew it would be really, really hard. But just because for the sake of who I want to win and to stay the course and not get ahead of myself here, no. I don't want to get ahead of, no. Based on, I'm just kidding. Off of pure reasoning, to I'm giving the 3 here to Mr. Ryan Hopper.
Wow. Okay.
But I'm not rooting. I didn't say for. I do want Rory McIlroy to get his green jacket.
You're some biased journalist.
But I don't think that he can. I truly like if it's between Colin and Rory, I think Colin will get it with his consistency. That is coming. It's not biased. It's coming from someone who is rooting for Rory. It's just gonna be hard for Colin, for Rory to beat out a Colin Morikawa or to beat out a Scotty Scheffler. Emma, I'm rooting for it. I hope it happens. I really, truly, I want to see him complete that Grand Slam. Nolan, you know I'm a fan too. You know I want it to happen. Will it happen though? You get the 2 on that one. Goose, seeing Akshay Bhatia, a great player. It's fun to watch a player come out of the top 20 through 30 and then show up at the Masters and do well. We'll see if that happens. I'm not sure, but Ryan Hopper, the 3. Emma, the 2. I hope so. Justin, the 1. Just can't get too ahead of myself. None of us can here. But
Fade you out with the mic toss there. Some play action from Rob.
Look. There's a little bit. That was a little bit of a rant. Let's go talk about the NBA now. With April here, thus marks the month when the NBA playoffs begin. So, behind the 1-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder, the remaining 2 through 4 seeds in the Western Conference are still up for grabs. Very marquee games going on tonight. So, what are your predictions for these seeds in the West? I believe I'm just asking about the Western Conference here. 2 through 4 seeds. How is it going to play out? Someone tell me.
That's me?
Yep.
Okay. All right, well, second, it has to be the Rockets. The Rockets are locked into second place mathematically. Numbers never lie. Third, I've been waiting for a chance to do this on Crossfire, I'm talking about the man on the Lakers. LeBron. LeBron's going to make it happen with Luka. Luka has 30-something points already tonight. Huge night for them. Sorry, I apologize to everybody for saying all that, but that's a viral meme going on right now. The Lakers also have a very easy schedule, including a lame duck game against the Rockets, who have literally nothing to play for down the stretch. They also play the Trailblazers, who God knows what they're doing. They're probably in the lottery or something. And then fourth, I got the Nuggets. The Nuggets also have some cupcake games down the stretch. Yes, they're tied with 2 other teams, including the LA Clippers and Warriors, but the LA Clippers and Warriors play each other, Rob. So one of them has to lose, and I think that Jokic is going to get it done. Dude drops a casual 60-point triple-double like it's nothing. So Rockets, Lakers, Nuggets.
Yeah, to be honest, Ryan kind of took it out of my mouth, but I will say, okay, I've got Rockets at number 2 as well. They've been super consistent within the past month or so. They've just been doing it right this whole time. Like Ryan said, they've got it clutched pretty much. Number 3, I also have the Lakers. I feel like LeBron and Luka, obviously, you can't go wrong. They're a dream team. Plus, you also insert Austin Reeves. I feel like it's a no-brainer for them to get that number 3. But then at number 4 is really hard to pick because I really wasn't sure. I did have Nuggets at one point. But they, with them just firing their GM, and I believe they also fired their head coach, they've been having some real issues over there. So I feel like that's going to throw them off a bit, kind of make things sticky. So for me, I put Golden State Warriors because I feel like Steph Curry, people have been talking, oh, is he getting too old for the game? Stuff like that. Is he on the downtime? But I don't think so. I think once you get him hot, once you get him going, he's going to show up for his team. And they do play the Clippers, but I think they'll come out on top.
Yeah, I'm going to go with, obviously, the Rockets at the 2. I don't know if they're actually mathematically locked in, but I do think if they only win one more game, they are mathematically locked in. And then number 3, I got to go with LeBarbie. LeBron James and the Lakers recently announced that he has a Barbie doll coming out.
What?
I have already pre-ordered it, so joke's on you. And then in the 4 spot, I am going to also go with the Golden State Warriors. The only reason I don't have the Nuggets is because they've been sort of on a free fall lately, and they play the Sacramento Kings tonight, who have been hotter than fish grease, as Mark Jones, the Sacramento Kings announcer, likes to say. So I'm going to go with the Warriors. I think they end up beating the Clippers in the last game of the season with everything on the line, and they will end up as the 4 seed.
Okay. So, yeah, this has been a crazy NBA playoff race so far, but, we're going to find out in about, I think, less than a week what the final picture is going to look like. I'm giving the 3 here to Mr. Justin Goosman. I like your talk about the Sacramento Kings. They are really catching fire right now, and I don't think there's really any debate between it's going Rockets than Lakers, but Sacramento after the Fox trade, they've shown some solid play. I'm giving you the 3 right here. I'm going to give you the 2, Mr. Ryan Hopper. You talk about, the Rockets, then you have the Lakers, the Nuggets. It's a little confusing. Why did they just fire their coach? I understand that they're not seeing the brightest of success compared to when they won the NBA Finals, but who knows? Emma the 1. Still some great answers. It could go any way. All right, sticking with the NBA here, the play-in tournament will kickstart the postseason here pretty soon. That's also around the corner. And while there are mixed opinions about whether the NBA should even have these games, they give a team that's a little bit worse a chance to make a run to the finals. So, going off that, what is one team from both the Eastern and the Western Conference who you could really see benefiting from being included in the play-in tournament this season and making a later run in the playoffs? Justin.
I'm going to start with the East, only because I don't think anyone in the East really has a chance to make a run. But I will say that the Orlando Magic have one of the best defenses in basketball, and we all know that defense wins championships. Are they going to win a championship? Absolutely not. But they do have a chance to win a game in the play-in, play either Boston or Cleveland. Last year, they took Cleveland to 7 games. They could absolutely do that again. So I'm going to go with the Orlando Magic out of the East. And in the West, you asked a couple weeks ago who has the best chance to rise in the standings. I said the Timberwolves. Unfortunately, everyone in the West has been hot as of late in that later seed. So the Timberwolves didn't rise in the standings, but they have been on fire. So I'm going to go with Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. They remind me a lot of that 7-seeded Miami Heat team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals and then the Finals later on that season, only because Anthony Edwards reminds me of Jimmy Butler, and then they still have a Defensive Player of the Year where he gets a lot of hate, but Rudy Gobert affects the game in a big way. Emma, than you.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Cool.
Okay. I will also start off with the Eastern. I really am going to go with the Miami Heat here. I feel like even though they were on that 10-game losing streak, obviously the Jimmy Butler trade kind of came out of nowhere. But I think Tyler Herro really has a chance to do something special with this Heat team. I feel like they've been on the comeback recently ever since that 10-game losing streak. But I really do think the play-in would be a good opportunity for them to kind of get up there in the rankings. I feel like they have everything they need. I definitely think, like I said, Herro could be just as good of a player as those he's going up against. And then I would say, I was going to agree with Goose and say for the Western, got to say the Timberwolves. They have just been on fire recently. I know it was kind of a disappointing loss to the Bucks the other night, but Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert are just such a special pair on that team, and I absolutely think that this play-in tournament could just do something special for them.
Okay. Well, Rob, the NBA is a league of stars, and the problem the league has, there's too many stars on too few teams. If we're being honest, in these play-in games, none of these teams have a chance of making a run. Zero, zilch. So you're looking at who can develop from this. What young players can get playoff experience and be brought along. So the obvious...
That's not the question.
The obvious answer in the East, I mean, it's benefit. They're all going to... You have any of these teams winning? No. So exactly. So who's going to benefit in the East? The Magic, one of the youngest teams in basketball. Good defense, as Goose said. They did, as Goose say, take the Cavs to a 7-game series last year. Very impressive. Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero are a combined 51 points per game. They're going to be a tough out for anybody, but they're not going far. Then you go to the West. Who can really benefit from this? The Memphis Grizzlies. Okay, this is a young basketball team, just fired their coach. That's allowed from the studio audience. And, you have a 3-headed monster, Desmond Bane, John Morant, Jaren Jackson, great shot blocking team. Lots of young players they can develop. I don't love Ja throwing grenades at the bench right now. That wasn't good. But they're going to figure this out, and they're going to be able to develop from this and get more playoff experience.
Yeah, so whether you see the play-in tournament as something your team can benefit from like going through the postseason or getting eliminated early, taking a trip to Cancun, and then worrying about your off-season trip or your off-season, whether you're worrying about that, you can benefit in any way. But I have to give the 3 right here to the reasoning behind Mr. Justin Goosman in that, so you pick the Magic. They were at the top of the standings for the East with the Celtics and the Cavs at the very beginning of the season. They just lost their spark a little bit, but they have that same team, and I think they can get some good juju back. They can seriously make a run from the teams that will be in the play-in tournament with them. Then you talk about you had on the West, you had the Timberwolves. You cannot go against Anthony Edwards. Emma, you had similar answers too, and I think that the Grizzlies with you, Ryan Hopper, I think that they're still kind of finding a way back right now, and you're right. So we'll see how everyone kind of plays out this play-in tournament. I'm not really sure if this is something that everyone loves in the NBA right now, but 3, 2, 1 down the is that order right there. So a great second round from our contestants. Just as the madness of March has ended, along with the college basketball season, there are so many things around the sports world that are buzzing. They're just keeping us going. So going over the scores here, Ryan Hopper still leads. Emma Hutchinson right behind him with 1, and then Justin Goosman is still right there. We're going to total those up when we get back in a second. But we have rapid fire coming up, the most important part of the night. Stick around because we'll be back in just a second. All right, welcome back into College Crossfire. We have a very close one right now. Everyone in the score total is separated by just 1 point, and I had the order wrong. So the 2 threes that Justin Goosman got last round put him into second place. So Ryan Hopper with 13, Justin Goosman with 12, and Emma Hutchinson with 11. So still anyone's game right now as... Where was your appearance on the show this year? Last semester.
Damn.
All right. Tonight's win is still up for grabs. Double the points, double the pressure. It's about to get hot. You know that saying.
You were saying it, so I didn't know if you wanted me.
And you love that saying as much as I do.
It's about to get hot, bro.
Let's just get into the first question. So, think long and hard about this one. As the Masters take place this weekend, there will be many of the world's best golfers who are looking to finally win the biggest major in all of golf. However, there's something about playing at Augusta National that makes certain golfers get in their head mentally and underperform. We always seem to think, can this person ever get the job done? Who is one athlete that always has you thinking this way that you would like to see finally get the job done in their sport and win a championship?
Josh Allen. He's a fantastic player. He is a fantastic player. I always think that this year is going to be the Bills' year. This year is going to be the Bills' year. He's finally going to take down Patrick Mahomes, and it never happens. I really want Josh Allen to get a championship. I think he's going to get it done at some point, but for whatever reason, he just has not been able to get past the Patrick Mahomes hump.
Oh, wow.
I will say that was a fantastic answer. I do love me some Joshy Allen. I'm going to have to say, as I may be biased, but Luka Doncic, obviously going to the NBA Finals with the Dallas Mavs and then having that loss to the Celtics was absolutely heartbreaking because at least being a Mavs fan since, 2019 when Luka first came on, just seeing how good and still obviously how good he is, it's really just like you look at him and you're like, this man hasn't taken his team to obviously an NBA final win, hasn't gotten the championship. It's kind of crazy, and so I need him. If he does it with the Lakers, that's fine. I'll still be rooting for him, but that's my man.
I don't think this is necessarily his fault. I just think it's a damn shame that with the team he's currently on, he doesn't have a shot to win a championship. Mike Trout is one of the best hitters of this generation. And unfortunately, if he's stuck with the Angels, he is never going to win a World Series. Fantastic player, going to be a Hall of Fame player, but he's unfortunately never going to get a ring because he's at an incompetent franchise. Mike, if you're out there, please leave eventually before injuries take the rest of your career. Injuries haven't helped him either. That's also not his fault. Very unfortunate for Mike Trout. And it's just unfortunate that he's so good in such an individual sport like baseball, where you can't make the difference a quarterback or an NBA star could.
I think everyone in this room would be equally as happy if either of those three athletes just won a championship. Doesn't matter which team they play on. I think everyone would be pretty happy about it. All right, so going on right now, the Los Angeles Lakers are they finished up playing the Dallas Mavericks in what is Luka's first return to the city of his former team after a shocking trade before the NBA's deadline. Placed on every chair in the American Airlines Center tonight, there are t-shirts with the words, "Thank you so much" in Slovenian on them. While this gesture has been done out of good nature, it only feeds into the pain of Dallas fans who never wanted their team to trade away their best player in the first place. If you were in charge of marketing and wanted to deliver a productive message that better encompasses the true emotions of the fans for these t-shirts, what would you have written out on them? And please keep this PG.
We all know.
Okay, so this is going to be a two-sided t-shirt. On the back, we're saying we're sorry for hiring Nico Harrison. But on the front, here's the more important message if you read between the lines. We're announcing our move to Las Vegas. That is your shirt if you're the Mavs. They are definitely moving to Las Vegas. They're trying to tank this franchise. The family that owns them are casino magnates in Vegas. They're trying to get gambling legalized in Texas. It's not working out. They're greedy billionaires. They don't give a blank about any of us or any of the fans. They're going to leave and take this team to Vegas, and it's a damn shame because the DFW Metroplex deserves better.
Was that almost a little slip-up right there?
Someone needs to get Ryan Hopper a security detail ASAP because he just called out a billionaire. So
Is that propaganda?
Ryan definitely hire a security detail. If it was me, I would say expletive, Nico Harrison sucks. That's what the shirt would say.
Okay.
We kept it PG.
Okay.
I feel like I just got to keep it plain and simple, fire Nico, which is what everybody's just been saying. Like I said, keep it short and simple. Fire Nico on the front. I'm not too sure what I would have on the back yet. I really liked Ryan's idea of having a front and back t-shirt. Maybe just like Nico Harrison's face with like that big like red you know what I'm talking about? Keep it simple. I feel like it would sell.
I think, and you are a Mavs fan. Are you just a Luka fan?
At this point, I'm just a Luka fan. I really did like the Mavs because I'm from the Dallas Metroplex, but
I think we've all been there with a certain team/player. All right. Last night, the craziness ensued in the NHL as the Vancouver Canucks came back from a 3-goal deficit against the Dallas Stars in the final minute in overtime to win and keep their playoff hopes alive. Final minute before the third period to go to overtime, just to be clear. All right, I'm not asking for the best comeback you've ever seen, but I am asking, what is the sneakiest or most bizarre comeback or occurrence you've randomly witnessed watching on your own television screen in your life, and why? Like, think of sneaky, like that just came up. Wow.
Sneaky, I mean, it's one of the more historic comebacks, but it was sneaky at the time. I remember I was really young. I was in middle school. My mom was telling me to turn off March Madness, and it was Texas A&M versus Northern Iowa, where Texas A&M was down 13 points with like 45 seconds to go, and Alex Caruso and Daniel House brought them all the way back to beat Northern Iowa. It was the most bizarre comeback I had ever watched with my own two eyes. The announcers were talking about how Northern Iowa was going to have gone from beating Texas to beating Texas A&M and advancing to the Sweet 16. And next thing you know, Andrew Catalon is screaming that Texas A&M had won the game. It was shocking. It was fantastic. And I will never forget that specific moment.
Okay, I don't know if this would be called sneaky, but I was actually just thinking about this the other day. But I don't know what year it was. I want to say 2012 Iron Bowl between Auburn and Alabama. Y'all probably know what I'm talking about. Missed field goal kick, like last couple seconds of the game. Davis runs the ball all the way. It's tied 28-28. He runs it all the way back to the house. Obviously, Auburn wins it. Auburn's going to win the football game. Like I said, I don't know if I would call that sneaky, but I guess you kind of say it was, because how many times has somebody ran the ball back to the house after a missed field goal kick, runs it all the way down? I think that is just one of the best comebacks, probably historically. I wouldn't say in all of sports, but probably all in college football. But yeah, that's what comes to mind.
My only pushback against that was a neck-and-neck game the entire game. This was a crazy comeback. The Alamo Bowl, I want to say 2016.
Oh, my God.
Okay, TCU, the Frogs are down 31 points at halftime. Enters in, what was his name? Bram Kohlhausen. This like random grad student backup quarterback who had never played a freaking snap in his entire career, comes in the game at halftime, and the dude looks like Tom Brady. It brings them all the way back. They score 5 times. Shout out the defense too. Gary Patterson's defense. Pull up his pants, Patterson. They were locking. He was always pulling up his pants on the sideline. He never wore a belt. They locked people up. I don't think they allowed a single point in that second half, which is believable when they came back from a 31-point deficit. 31 points. I almost said that you liked that Kirk Cousins game that I was at, but no, that was it. Kirk Cousins, really good quarterback. Bram Kohlhausen, he's probably like doing Excel sheets right now. Come on, man. 31 points? Crazy.
I had the flu, and I got home from a road trip, and I laid down on the couch, and I watched that game, and I think that game cured the flu. It got the virus out of me.
I just remember it was exactly during the time of when James Harden was doing the chefing up celebration on the Rockets, and Bram Kohlhausen scored a touchdown in overtime and did that exact celebration. Yeah. I just remember that because he's from Houston. I remember that part too. All right. Great answers all around by our contestants tonight. I loved hearing everyone's answers on so many different topics with so much going on right now. With that being said, there can only be one winner, and that person's name is Mr. Ryan Hopper. Do we have time for FaceTime?
Probably not.
Oh, really?
Oh.
You know what to do.
All right. Well, I'm going to keep it quick. I'd like to thank everybody here. I'd like to thank our wonderful host, Rob G. I'd like to thank my co-contestants, Emma and Goose. I'd like to thank everybody in the back. I'd like to thank our great stage manager, Kendall. I'd like to thank my family. Finally got a Crossfire dub. What do you want me to say? It's getting hot. I like to thank Nolan on the prompter. Shout out everybody here. I'd like to thank Goose's phone. He's been a trooper so far.
Tyler's phone.
Oh, thank you. Oh, Tyler Moss. Shout out my man in the back. Sorry about your battery life. And yeah, we had to take this one home. And I'm happy that I might have gotten a Tournament of Champions thing so I can get another Tournament of Champions crown.
Well, thank you, Ryan. That's going to wrap things up here at TSTV tonight. Thank you to everyone who makes the show possible, from the contestants to the in-studio personnel, all the people in master control, especially our executive producer, Tyler Moss, and our associate producer, Gabriel Silva. Thanks for watching. Remember to tune into our other shows, 1-0 on Friday and College Press Box on Tuesday. We've got the Tournament of Champions next week, so we'll be back. Signing off from the studio, I'm your host, Robert Gonsolin, and have a great night.